Tonight, the cost of petrol set to soar across the city. Some Perth servos lifting prices by more than 50 cents a litre tomorrow.
5 Iranian soccer players make a dash to safety. Attention now turns to protecting their teammates.
The Prime Minister orders Australian troops into the war zone, and we're sending missiles as well.
The shock resignation of the National Party leader. David Littleproud says he's buggered and can't go on.
Crunch time for Perth e-bikes and scooters, big changes on the cards.
And Jailbirds, the drunken night out that's had costly consequences for 2 AFL stars.
Live from Perth, this is 7 News with Tim McMillan and Angela Tsun.
Good evening. Perth is about to be hit with near record petrol prices as the cost of fuel soars across the city.
The advice is fill up tonight, with some outlets pushing up the price by more than 50 cents a litre tomorrow.
Let's go to Lucy Murray. Lucy, how much will motorists be forced to pay?
Good evening, Ange. At some petrol stations, the price will top $2.45 a litre. This station in Wembley, among the most expensive outlets, hiking prices by 58 cents a litre. To put that in context, it will cost you an extra $35 to fill up here tomorrow compared to today. Around the metro area, most stations are selling around $2.30, with 1 or 2 still hovering around the $2 a litre mark. Now, these prices aren't just bad news for motorists. The impacts are about to be felt far wider. Container after container, imported goods to fill the aisles at grocery stores and the shelves at Bunnings, all transported by road. It requires tens of thousands of litres of fuel, diesel that's now being restricted.
We have gone from unlimited supplies to now supplies every 2 days.
Box Logistics in Henderson told they can only get half of the fuel they'd usually buy wholesale, and the price has gone up 20% in 3 weeks.
Any costs that we incur, we will have to pass on. Transport already operates at fairly low margins, so any impact will be felt directly by the consumer inevitably.
Restrictions in place, but the government still insists there's no fuel shortage, blaming panic buying instead.
Not one petrol jerry can or diesel jerry can, only water ones.
Fuel continues to arrive in Australia in the quantities and the frequency that we would expect. There is an increase in demand leading to temporary disruptions.
There's a month worth of diesel stockpiled, but the Iran war is only 10 days old.
Every contract is being filled to date, and we're not expecting that to change, but we are preparing.
Not the contract at the Claremont Yacht Club. The dock run dry as their fuel order is delayed. This is the rush at one of Perth's cheapest fuel stations. Motorists are getting in before tomorrow's price hike. The average unleaded price of $2.22 a litre is the highest we've seen in 2 years. And there's more to come as international prices climb.
Prices will rise for a little while. Probably hasn't even risen as much as we would have expected it to.
Lucy Murray, 7 News.
WA is facing some serious issues as the international crisis drags on. Jeff Parry, the Cook government is convening an industry roundtable.
Yes, it's appropriately called the Fuel Security Roundtable, Tim, and it'll be held here at Dumar House beginning tomorrow. Representatives from across agriculture, from across industry, there'll be transport representatives, union representatives, lots of representatives from fuel companies themselves. Perth Airport reps will be here, the airlines, Qantas and Virgin, of course, the government. Lots to discuss, including a possible cap on the price of fuel. The government does have the power for that. It's in legislation that dates back to 1983.
It does provide us with an opportunity to put a max. But what happens then is that everyone just goes to the maximum price, and then you distort the market, and then you create other disruptions to the supply chain.
So an important meeting here tomorrow. Lots of questions, no easy answers, and a lot riding on it. Ange.
There sure is, Jeff, thank you. The fight to protect Iran's female soccer players is at a tipping point tonight as activists try to block the team's departure from Australia.
5 of their teammates have now been granted humanitarian visas to stay here after an international campaign that included a late-night intervention from Donald Trump. This video emerged this afternoon of some of the players being escorted to Gold Coast Airport. It was recorded by a protester and appears to show them being led by the wrist by a team member from their hotel to the bus.
Risking their own safety, hoping to keep Iran's footballers safely here. Supporters pleading with them to stay. Police clearing the way, the team bus getting through. Attempts to cruel its path to Coolangatta Airport also failing.
Go, honey, go.
The remaining members now waiting to fly out after 5 teammates made a dash for freedom from their Gold Coast hotel last night, pursued by team officials unsuccessfully.
Where's the smiles now?
The group, led by Captain Zara Ganbari, spirited to a safe house by AFP officers, greeted by Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke with this assurance.
You're safe here, you're welcome here, you're at home here.
Forced to sing the Iranian anthem last night, a distinctively Australian chorus.
The spontaneous outbreak of Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
The successful mission following days of clandestine catch-ups with police in the stadium and hotel, delighting supporters. Unaware, US President Donald Trump posting late last night, Australia is making a terrible humanitarian mistake. Prime Minister, give asylum. The President then calling Anthony Albanese,
just before 2 a.m,
who assured Mr Trump the 5 were already out and safe.
It was a warm conversation.
The President then posting, he's on it. God bless Australia. The 5 have been granted humanitarian visas, giving them a year to apply for asylum. A difficult decision. For many of their other teammates, too difficult. Despite this offer,
if you want our help, help is here.
Iranian supporters despondent their pleas to help haven't worked. But not giving up the fight. 7 News has been told efforts will continue at the highest levels of government to give the players every opportunity to seek protection here up until they physically get on a flight out of the country. Each will be given a written offer to that extent at Sydney Airport tonight if they haven't already got it. Their supporters are desperately hoping they will all accept it, fearing what might be ahead of them in Tehran after being declared traitors in war by their own uncompromising government. Tim.
Mark Riley, thank you. The war in the Middle East is about to have an Australian military presence. Our highest tech jet and missiles are right now on the way to the conflict zone.
Dozens of Australian personnel are also being deployed. The Prime Minister insists our role is purely defensive, with allies under threat.
Defending Australians and allies abroad.
We're not taking offensive action against Iran.
Or walking a slippery slope to war.
They're being led by the nose by Donald Trump into Donald Trump's war.
One of Australia's 6 Wedgetails, a cutting-edge early warning aircraft, departs Williamtown, north of Newcastle today for the Gulf.
This is one of the leading capabilities in the world in terms of airborne long-range reconnaissance and command.
Its mission? To detect and warn when Iran unleashes missiles or drones on its Gulf neighbours. The Wedgetail, a team of 85 personnel to operate it, and an undisclosed number of medium-range air-to-air missiles. This, the government says, answers a request from the United Arab Emirates, which has already shot down more than 1,500 rockets and drones.
One of the largest expat populations that we have of Australians anywhere in the world is in the UAE.
It's a nonsense. It's a fiction being directed by our government.
The Greens say the government has been pressed into a military contribution by the Trump administration, and this is just the start of Australia's role. Defence expert Jennifer Parker warns the end of the conflict is not close.
That's not days away.
But says Australia's defensive role is legitimate, and blunting Iran's missile and drone attacks is a step towards fixing our fuel headaches.
So if that can be diminished, then you will start to see oil flow through the Strait of Hormuz, even if this conflict is ongoing.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
The US President has sent mixed signals about a possible end to the conflict in the Middle East. Let's go to Chief Reporter Chris Reason in Tel Aviv. Chris, Donald Trump has offered differing timelines for this war.
Good evening, Tim. Well, many people expected that Donald Trump's appetite for this would not last long, but this is a substantial shift from his original timeline of 4 to 5 weeks. There is nothing concrete, and he has been contradictory, but he says here that the US objectives were pretty well complete and that the war is going to be ended soon. Now, the financial markets jumped on those comments, seized on them. The price of a barrel of oil tumbled from $120 down to under 90, but still the missiles firing in from all sides as Israel's president today gave an exclusive interview to 7 News from his residence in Jerusalem, saying that there is no walking away from war. Defiance in Tehran. Support for the new Ayatollah. Not everyone here wants the regime gone. Clinging on 10 days into the blitz from the US and Israel.
So we're winning very decisively.
Donald Trump suggesting the job is almost done, telling one US network, "I think the war is very complete pretty much." In front of the cameras,
I could call it, or we could go further. And we're going to go further.
The US president also speaking to his Russian counterpart. The Kremlin claims Vladimir Putin told Donald Trump of several proposals to end the Iran war. And flying in with a peace plan, the French president, who's been speaking with Iran's leaders on a ceasefire.
We are facing an act of aggression which is absolutely illegal.
But America's partner in war has little appetite for peace just yet. Israel bombing Iran and Lebanon's Hezbollah as well. The strikes relentless. The nation's president faces the cameras.
Mr. President.
Speaking exclusively with 7 News a month to the day since his visit to Australia. A lot can happen in a month. Now your country is at war.
We are standing firm. We are standing firm, a coalition of nations saying no more. It's over.
Isaac Herzog tells Australians our fuel pain and economic turbulence will pass.
My message to the Australian people that we are a force of good trying to bring the world to a better place.
We don't know how long this is going to take.
It will take its time, and we said we know.
What does that mean, though, take its time? How long do you think?
You have to understand, there's no walking away.
What does victory look like then for Israel?
Limiting their capability militarily is a very important achievement. It's really vital. But hopefully I want to see freedom for the Iranian people. They deserve it.
But on the future of Iran's new leader, hints he's not long for this world.
No, all I'm saying is he's a brutal, cruel person. You now draw the conclusion.
Outside, Tel Aviv is still being hit by Iran's missiles. Cluster bombs, 2 more killed. You're okay?
I'm okay.
This man's wife stepped out of the car just 30 seconds before.
She wasn't that close. She go to the hospital now with my daughter.
These cluster bombs are simply proving too difficult for Israel's famed Iron Dome system. Once the missile releases its bomblets at altitude, they spread too far and wide, and there's too many of them for it to intercept. The Iron Dome is overwhelmed. Iran's impact zone spreads far across the region too. Another missile shot down over Turkey, a NATO member. With America now hinting at an end, Israel is ticking off the targets before a ceasefire is declared. In Israel, Chris Reason, 7 News.
More Australians have arrived home from the Middle East, the first Perth-bound Qatar flight touching down since the airspace closed. The plane was delayed by hours and ended up landing in Perth around 1 this morning. Many had spent the past 10 days in limbo.
We were stuck in Qatar, We didn't even make it to our destinations. They were intercepting the rockets. One came above our hotel, they intercepted, and all the metal came straight down in front of us.
For now, Qatar's only operating an extremely limited number of flights to and from Doha.
Weeks after the fractured federal coalition reunited, one of its leaders has just called it quits. Tim Lester is at Parliament House. Tim, David Littleproud has resigned as Nationals leader.
And Tim, it looks like many of his colleagues simply did not see this coming. The 49-year-old and wife Amelia here in Parliament this afternoon announcing that he is leaving the party's federal leadership. That's despite leading the Nationals since 2022 through last year's record coalition loss in the May election, then 2 acrimonious splits with the Liberals and a challenge to his leadership just weeks ago.
But I'm buggered. I've had enough to lead. It's been a pretty rough road since the election. But I get to go home to her, my wife, Amelia, and her family.
Possible replacements? Well, Matt Canavan is one of them. Another, Kevin Hogan, the current deputy. Also former leader Michael McCormack and potentially Victorian Bridget McKenzie. Whoever gets it will have a baptism of fire with the Farrer by-election in May. Ange.
Tim, thank you. Once considered a sporting legend, Barry Cable is tonight fighting allegations that he was a sexual predator. Prosecutors say he had a dark side and abused a young girl 6 decades ago.
Behind the shining lights of North Melbourne premierships and Sandover medals,
Barry Cable is cheered towards the members' grandstand.
Prosecutors say Barry Cable had a dark side. The 82-year-old came to court today fighting allegations he sexually abused a 9-year-old girl in the 1960s, the height of his football career. The girl, now aged in her 60s, gave evidence over video link. She recalled Cable repeatedly sexually assaulting her over a month at his Perth family home after removing her from an orphanage. She testified he would tell her she was special, that he loves her the most and that her parents didn't love her. The woman told police in 2023, the same year a civil court judge ruled Cable sexually assaulted another young girl after she sued him. When asked why she didn't tell anyone earlier, she replied, "He told me that no one would believe me because he was Barry Cable." The charges all relate to the one woman, but the trial will hear from 3 others who all claim Barry Cable sexually assaulted them as children. The state says one of them was forced into weekly sex lessons. Cable completely denies every allegation. The trial will run into next week. Cassidy Moscone, 7 News.
Sam Jolly joins us now. And Sam, it's been a cool and cloudy Tuesday.
Yeah, a bit of a change from recent days, Tim, and below average for March. Our top today was just 25 degrees. It actually felt a few degrees colder than that as well, and we had an overnight low of around 18. Around the suburbs, 23 degrees was our coolest in Bickley and Hillary's, and the airport once again the warmest with 27. Most suburbs hovered around 25 to 26 degrees. On the satellite, a cold front has moved over the southeast, giving us the cool change, but a strong ridge will push in behind the front and persist while a west coast trough begins to develop later in the week. So it will warm up again. We have a couple of 33-degree days on the new forecast. I'll have that for you soon, Tim and Ange.
Thanks, Sam. Still to come, a Wheatbelt tragedy back in the spotlight.
New details emerge about a Kellabarron killer. What drove Lachlan Bowles to gun down his colleague?
A shed and cars destroyed in a Gosnells blaze. What sparked the backyard inferno?
A woman charged for shooting up a pop star's mansion. 14 million reasons why she'll stay behind bars.
And later, a rough royal reception for the King and his successor.
As the nation
Missed the start of the news? You can start over on 7 Plus on selected devices, 7 News at 6, or when you start over on 7 Plus.
Towering plumes of smoke filled the sky above a Gosnells street as a backyard shed exploded into flames. Neighbours scrambled to grab their pets and escape. A modified lithium battery is believed to be behind the blaze.
Just 2 doors down, an entire backyard goes up.
Oh my God, girls. The house across the road from us is on fire. Something's exploded and it's gone nuts. Holy f***.
Residents on Hartley Street get ready to flee. Pets already gone.
No, sorry, love.
There was police everywhere, there was people everywhere, there was smoke, there was a lot of banging and crashing. It was real excitement, but it's scary.
The backyard shed exploded into flames at 6 o'clock. A couple who live at the home lucky to be out, soon after returning to chaos.
There's fire trucks all down the street, so it was pretty full on. It was, and they were saying there was explosions going off.
Firefighters stopped it from spreading to the home, but were keeping a close eye on the ruins.
This is the third time fire crews have rushed back to the scene. The blaze has flared up again more than 14 hours after it first broke out.
A man who lives at the home told 7 News a lithium battery charging an e-bike sparked the blaze. It's understood it may have been modified or had attempted repairs done on it.
If you're illegally tampering with a device, I'm not an expert, but you're going to have more of a risk of something going wrong, including a fire.
2 cars and a shed gone, no injuries or damage to any other homes, but one explosive warning. Nick Overall, 7 News.
We're learning more about a killer who shot his co-worker before taking his own life in the wheat belt. An inquest has revealed Lachlan Bowles had undiagnosed mental health issues and was tampering with extremist ideology. Brianna Inferreira reports.
A tight-knit community forever rocked by a shooting tragedy. This was Kellaberrin on September 7, 2023, plunged into lockdown as officers hunt an armed killer. Lachlan Bowles fatally shot his co-worker Terry Sanowski before fleeing. An inquest hearing the 25-year-old was armed, wearing a balaclava and Nazi armband. Police tried to negotiate with him for hours. During that time, Lachlan displayed a Nazi flag, made statements about death and his intention to die, saying he'd been thinking about murdering someone for some time and had dreamt about it. Officers encouraged him to surrender, but it didn't work, Lachlan turning the gun on himself.
I honestly think that it was horrible, but that there's nothing we can do now except support each other.
The court heard Lachlan likely had undiagnosed autism and anxiety. Psychiatrist Dr. Mark Hall telling the inquest Lachlan was exploring extremist ideology, but he didn't believe that was the driving force behind his actions, suggesting instead distorted ideas and negative views about himself plunged him into depression. This inquest isn't just examining the events of that tragic day, but what led Lachlan Bowles to pull the trigger. The coroner will examine his mental health and what appears to be his emerging Nazi ideologies.
All I can say is I fully support Lockie's family. They did not do it.
The inquest will continue tomorrow as 2 separate families who've been forced to grieve search for answers. Brianna Inferreira, 7 News.
A woman has been charged with attempted murder over a shooting at music star Rihanna's Beverly Hills mansion. Several shots were fired from a car yesterday, hitting the home with the pop star and her young family inside. Bail for the 35-year-old Florida woman has been set at just over $14 million. No one was injured in the attack.
Still to come this news hour on 7.
The new crackdown on e-ridables. Crunch time for e-bikes and scooters. Why big changes are on the cards.
The shock arrest of 2 AFL stars locked up in another country.
See the mighty mission to move a plane using only a helicopter.
And later, Carl Sandilands breaks his radio silence.
A new era begins. The young guns of the Eagles ready to fire. The Dockers out to prove they're contenders. 2 teams, 1 massive year for WA footy fans. Get your season guide. Free in the West Australian tomorrow.
And off-season footy scandals landed 2 star Hawthorn players behind bars. Dylan Moore and Connor McDonald were arrested after a wild night out. Both were locked up in a police jail cell on the other side of the world.
A split-second decision has haunted Dylan Moore for almost 4 months. Tonight, he's coming clean on the off-season arrest that cost him the Hawthorn vice-captaincy.
Yeah, I was in the US. I was out having a few drinks and made a foolish mistake, decided to get on a scissor lift, and next thing I know, the cops are there telling me to get off, and I got off, and the next thing I know is I'm in police custody.
Moore was on a pre-season training camp in Arizona last November when he and fellow Hawk Connor McDonald fell foul of the law.
Yeah, it's something that I'll always regret. A foolish mistake has led into a night in a jail cell and many regrets.
In an ironic case of life imitating art, Moore and McDonald dressed as police on Halloween, pretending to apprehend a teammate just days before their arrests. Moore says letting down his coach hurts the most.
Yeah, I feel quite sorry for Sam. I've disappointed him and the fellow leaders.
He's regretful and remorseful from day one, and he's learnt from this. He's going to re-educate himself from this.
Moore and McDonald were hit with financial penalties by the club. Both have undergone alcohol awareness counselling and will be doing community service.
I was vice captain at the time, and I should be recognised in situations like that, and I should know better. And I feel like I've let the leaders down and Connor down.
Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
Premier Roger Cook has announced a program to deliver cheaper energy to local manufacturers.
Taxpayers will foot the bill initially, but the state government has promised the returns will be worth it if it all goes to plan.
Local manufacturing is the dream of all governments, but it's easier said than done. A key is the cost of energy.
We are not immune from rising gas prices, a reality made worse at times of international conflict and uncertainty, the likes of which we are seeing right now.
At a convention of some of the country's biggest energy producers, the Premier made his pitch.
Welcome to the state of energy.
The state government is hanging its reputation on delivering cheaper energy through renewables. Coal is slated for shutdown entirely by 2030. In the meantime, it's being subsidised at a heavy cost. Today, the Premier announced financial incentives for industry to clean up its act by switching to solar and more energy-efficient machinery.
We want to grow manufacturing in Western Australia. We want to make more things here, build more here, power more here.
The incentives will be in the form of low-interest loans totalling $150 million. The Greens say it's a farce.
The $150 million that they announced today, that's less than half what it's going to cost them to prop up coal with Griffin Coal for the next few years.
The state has also committed $6 million for a community campaign selling its vision for renewable energy.
Delivering more energy, more affordable energy, cleaner energy.
Jeff Parry, 7 News.
The government has announced a raft of changes to e-bike and e-scooter laws, but the plans have already been hit with criticism for lacking urgency. Meanwhile, WA Police have today reinforced their stance in a video showing the brutal fate of 50 recently seized e-ridables.
E-scooters and e-bikes ridden dangerously, used for criminal behaviour. Now a warning to e-hoons everywhere. Police will take their wheels too.
And we will crush it. We will crush it to smithereens.
WA has had 12 deaths linked to e-ridables since 2022. Last year, a 59-year-old woman hit by an e-bike in Edgewater. In the CBD, a man killed by a drunk woman on an e-scooter. And a Kalgoorlie man, Lee Tadgell, who crashed his modified e-bike. His sister was initially encouraged when Parliament investigated our laws, but today, despite supporting almost all the recommendations, including registration fees, banning modifications and speed limits, the government has set few deadlines on the key issues.
How long do we have to wait? So just really disappointed. There's no sense of urgency. People dying, people getting hurt.
Ministers say they're waiting for the Commonwealth to set national standards, especially on importing devices.
That's just an unfortunate part of being government, that we do take a little bit of time.
On other recommendations, the government says there's no clear timeline because it will need to work closely with local governments on things like designated dismount zones. Relying on local councils to help decide areas where e-riding is banned. A deadline also lacking for promised increased penalties.
So when will a decision be made on that?
I'm not sure when a decision will be made.
Can you give a time frame?
No, I can't.
Shouldn't you be able to?
Well, it actually sits with the Minister for Road Safety.
I'm not going to set a deadline because I want them to do it, get it right.
Urgent action needs to be done now.
James Carmody, 7 News.
A plane has been seen in the skies over Tasmania, but not how you'd expect. The aircraft has taken its last trip by helicopter. The uplifting adventure took off when a father and son team wanted a new project to work on. And an airlift-in was the only way to get this fixer-upper onto their property. One suggestion is to turn the plane into an Airbnb, but its future remains up in the air.
Still to come, a chorus of boos.
The King heckled alongside William and Kate as the Epstein scandal continues to rear its ugly head.
How the share market clawed back after yesterday's bloodbath. Money Talks is next.
Could a simple test identify a woman's risk of a chronic disease?
And coming up in sport, Justin Longmuir joins us ahead of round one as a Freo star is missing from training. Plus, we hear from Jake Waterman and an Eagles legend given a high honour at the Hall of Fame.
The adoption story winning hearts across Australia. How Basil the rescue dog swapped shelter for sofa, becoming a viral sensation. Plus, Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel hits the big screen. The stars take Sunrise behind the scenes of the most romantic movie of the year. Start with Sunrise.
Hello. Donald Trump's claim that the end of the war is close had a calming effect on world markets as the oil price stabilised. Our recovery was cautious and only clawed back some of yesterday's heavy losses. The choke point in the Strait of Hormuz remains a concern, though, and not just for fuel supplies. 30% of the world's fertiliser also passes through that channel. So a disruption to supply puts pressure on food producers, and we would all end up paying for that at the checkout. House prices jumped again in the December quarter in every state and territory. In terms of annual growth, WA led the way, up nearly 17%, followed by the Northern Territory and Queensland. The ASX 200 closed 1% higher, a much better day for the miners. The energy sector saw the biggest falls, and the Aussie dollar is buying 70 US cents.
A chorus of boos has marred the largest public royal gathering since the former Prince Andrew was arrested. The King was heckled alongside William and Kate as calls grow for His Majesty's brother to be removed from the line of succession.
King Charles arrives to the chorus of Westminster Abbey's bells and the bellows of anti-monarchy protesters. But this year's British Republicans are armed with a new slogan, "What did you know?" demanding answers over the former Prince Andrew's affairs with Jeffrey Epstein.
The institution of the monarchy in this country is rotten to the core.
Of course, Andrew made no appearance, but it was still the largest gathering of the royal family since his arrest. Inside, former Spice Girl Geri Halliwell Horner telling the King the Commonwealth was
a community, a family of choice.
No such luxury with his own brother, pictured in a new photo with a woman on his lap. His removal from the line of succession reportedly raised with Commonwealth nations who'd have to all join Australia, New Zealand and Canada's position to see such a change made. The former Prince Andrew's arrest has seen royal engagement since cast as archaic and out of touch, but the timing of today, just over a week into the war in Iran, gives His Majesty an opportunity to show the virtue he believes can be found in these old institutions. That's if his message of hope can be heard over constant heckling. In London, Ben Downey, 7 News.
A simple 5-minute test could fast-track diagnosis and treatment for endometriosis. Australian researchers have developed a questionnaire to identify girls and young women at risk of the condition, speeding up referral to specialists for further assessment. Endometriosis occurs when tissue similar to the lining of the uterus grows in other parts of the body, causing crippling pain. Despite affecting 1 in 7 Australian women, it takes an average 6 to 8 years to be diagnosed.
Radio shock jock Kyle Sandilands is demanding to be allowed back on air, declaring his love for co-host Jackie O. In a statement, he's accused ARN of not running a genuine process and revealed he's been told not to contact Jackie. He appeared on Australian Idol last night after more than a week off air, critiquing a contestant's rendition of With a Little Help from My Friends. Kyle reflected on the feud with his Kiss co-host.
And a great message. We all need to get by with a little help from our friends.
Yes, we do. We do, for sure.
This week been tough for me. I've had a falling out with a very close friend.
The radio host has been suspended from the Kyle and Jackie O show over alleged misconduct.
Now it's time for an update on Western Australia's blood supply from live blood. Several blood types are in short supply this week, making up almost 80% of Australia's population. Lifeblood is urging both regular and first-time donors to come forward and book a donation to ensure patients can get the blood they need. If you don't know your blood type, becoming a donor is the easiest way to find out. Search blood supply or visit lifeblood.com.au to book your donation.
Ryan is here with Sport now, and Ryan, Justin Longmuir is with us tonight.
He is, guys, ahead of what could be a big year for the Dockers. The Freo coach with the latest on his round one side, including a star midfielder not sighted at training today. Plus, fitting honour, an Eagles champion handed legend status. And the Matildas in Perth preparing for a quarter-final. The Fremantle Dockers open their season against the Cats in Geelong on Saturday. Justin Longmuir joins me now. Justin, welcome back for 2026. And for the second year in a row, you start with one of the toughest trips in footy.
G'day, Ryan. Yeah, obviously it's probably one of our longer road trips, but one we're really excited about. We let ourselves down last year in round one down there, but we're really excited by the challenge this year.
You got a list that's maturing into its prime. Do you think you have everything you need to compete at the business end this year?
I will see, and I guess by that I mean, there's a lot that goes into the season. Understand the season's going to present a lot of challenges to us. Some of that's injuries, some of that's the ups and downs of form and travel and those types of things. So I've got a lot to get through, I've got a lot of confidence in this list. I've got a lot of confidence in the staff leading the list, and I'm excited about what we can achieve this year.
We didn't see Hayden Young on the training track today. How confident are you that he'll be fit to play the Cats?
Yeah, confident. He's got a little bit of work to do to get over that ankle injury from the Adelaide game. And clearly he'll have to get through main training on Thursday, but we're confident he can do that and be on the plane later in the Arvo.
What role do you see Hayden playing this year? Is it mostly midfield?
Oh, mostly. And a little bit of these things with a lot of our players come down to a bit of horses for courses. We see Hayden as a midfielder for us, but we also know that he can impact in other areas, and one of those being in the forward line as a high forward or a deep forward, but he's also played a lot of footy at half back, so it'll be whatever the team needs.
Alex Pearce is listed as a test. What does he have to do to take his place?
He trained well today, so that's a really positive sign. And he obviously needs to pull up well tomorrow and then do a little bit on Thursday before we declare him available. But it's looking positive at the moment.
Where's Luke Ryan at in regard to his spot in the best 23?
Yeah, he's in a fight for a spot, with a number of guys around the back line, whether it be deep back or high back. You feel like we've got a lot of players in really good form in the back line at the moment. It's been well stated that Luke had pretty serious operation over the off-season and came into pre-season contact work pretty late, so he's sort of chasing that group a little bit at the moment. But we're confident that he can get back to his best and confident that he can find a spot in the team in the near future.
Are you happy with where Sean Darcy's at? Will he be available this week?
Yeah, he's a bit like Pearcey. He got through training today, trained really well. We'll see how he pulls up, and clearly he's in a competition for spots with Mason, given he's missed a lot of time. But we're confident he'll be fit to play, and it just comes down to selection now.
The Cats in Geelong on Saturday. Justin, should be a beauty. Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
A trio of Eagles have been given the all-clear on the injury front ahead of their season opener against the Suns. Ruben Ginbey, Tim Kelly and captain Liam Duggan all fit, but Brandon Starcevich has suffered a setback with his calf.
The Premiership Lion was training on the outside oval at Lat Lane, the rehab zone. His career at West Coast off to a shaky start. But 3 stars, Duggan, Kelly and Ginbey, were all cleared to tackle the red-hot Suns, who are unbackable favourites.
We're young and we've got nothing to lose heading up there. So we're going to go up there, try to play our way, and we're not disillusioned to the fact that they're a pretty star-studded side, and they're big, they're physical, they run hard and they play those conditions really well.
Jack Graham is unlikely to be on the plane, while Sandy Brock hurt himself this morning and had to leave the track. No one needs a win more than Carlton coach Michael Voss, though, after former captain Sam Docherty called his old club an absolute mess following that thumping from the Swans.
Basically what happens, and exactly what happened again last night, is the same shit that happens every other game. Because the game gets somewhat slower and there's more open brand footy, that's when Carlton's horrible.
People keep asking me about last year's best and fairest speech, and culturally we defeat ourselves. So I just felt that was an example of that. I'll move forward with the team I've got.
The Blues have pulled Doherty's invite to a club function, and the Eagles have signed a multi-sport prospect, Jack Miles-Renshie, a 199cm, 20-year-old Queensland basketballer, as a Category B rookie. Adrian Barrage, 7 News.
And it's game on, footy fans. The time could be now for Freo, and it's a new dawn for the Eagles. Every club in detail ahead of a massive season. You can get ready for all the action with your free 48-page AFL season guide only in the West tomorrow. West Coast Eagles champion Peter Matera and East Fremantle great Ray Sorrell have been crowned legends in the WA Football Hall of Fame. Matera won the 1992 Norm Smith Medal in the Eagles' first premiership, and Sorrell was named WAFL Sentiment of the 1950s and 60s. 56-year-old Matera still remembers the crowd abuse he copped walking onto the G on grand final day.
Yeah, no, it was pretty scary at that day because we were walking across the oval from the hotel, and all the supporters were saying, Matera, you're going to go in the first 5, and I'm thinking, oh no, and I was talking to Serge Miller, and I said, they're going to knock me out, Serge? And he goes, no, you be right, and then go into the change rooms and come out and you see 50,000 that side, and you turn around and you see another 40-odd thousand this side, and the nerves start pumping.
Dockers great David Mundy, Harry Taylor, James Clement and Eagles pair Josh Kennedy and Nick Natanui were inducted into the Hall of Fame alongside footy identity the late Alan East. A spot in the Final Four of the Asian Cup isn't the only motivation for the Matildas in Friday night's sudden death quarter-final against North Korea in Perth. Victory will secure automatic qualification for next year's World Cup in Brazil. Star duo Steph Catley and Hayley Razzo are both in doubt through concussion protocols.
Regardless of whoever may or may not have to step in, that they'll know that they'll feel support and, feel confident to do the job.
Former Test cricketer and long-time assistant coach Bo Casson is the new coach of the WA men's team, taking over from Adam Voges.
And what I'm super excited about is we have a new facility, it's a new era, it's a new chapter within the books or the history of the game and in Western Australia, and we have the control as a group and as staff and as a coaching staff to be able to put the words on the page of what we actually stand for and what we do moving forward.
Voges will remain coach of the Scorchers, with Casson taking on the Shield and one-day teams. Big shoes to fill, but I reckon
really
he'll do
big.
a fantastic job.
Yeah, good luck to him. Thanks Ryan. Sam Jolly's back, and Sam, it's been quite cool today.
Yeah, we're really starting to feel that change of season, Tim, but it doesn't mean our hot days are over. I'll be back with the forecast right after the break.
When the world is changing and it impacts us, Australia turns to 7. Australia turns to trust. Chief Correspondent Chris Reason leads our team
inside the conflict zone
from sunrise to 6 p.m.
on 7 News.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Welcome back. We had a cool change sweep through today. Our top was a mild 25 degrees and it felt a few degrees colder than that. We had an overnight low of 18. Around the suburbs, 23 was our coolest. That was in Bickley and Hillary's. The airport, the warmest with 27. And most suburbs hovered around 25 to 26 degrees. Right now, it has dropped to 23 degrees. It feels a touch cooler than that, and the winds are from the south-southeast. On the satellite, a cold front has moved over the southeast, giving us the cool change, but a strong ridge is going to push in behind the front and persist while a west coast trough begins to develop later in the week, so it will warm up again. Interstate, sunny and 29 for Sydney tomorrow, possible showers for Melbourne, rain for Hobart and a top of 30 degrees in Brisbane. Hot and stormy in Marble Bar tomorrow. It's looking windy for Exmouth, Carnarvon and for Geraldton, and then showers are possible for Kalgoorlie, Albany and Esperance tomorrow. On local waters, southeasterly winds 15 to 25 knots, seas to 2.5 metres, and the swell's going to be around a metre tomorrow. So we're getting down to 13 tonight, then it's a little bit warmer tomorrow. A sunny top of 28 degrees in the city. It's looking mostly sunny and 27 on Thursday, pretty much the same on Friday. And for the weekend, mostly sunny and 30 degrees Saturday, sunny and 31 on Sunday. Then it warms up to 33 degrees for Monday and next Tuesday. Now for tonight's winning lotto numbers, they are 33, 34, 41, 17, 42, 12, 16 and the sups are 24, 29 and 23. Those numbers again, 33, 34, 41, 17, 42, 12, 16 and the sups 24, 29 and 23. Tim and Ange.
Thank you, Sam. That is 7 News. I'll be back with updates throughout the evening.
For the latest stories, head to 7news.com.au and follow us on Facebook. Stay on 7. Home and Away is up next.